I guess we're live. We're live. Hey, how is everybody doing tonight? This is different. And yeah. uh yeah, so if you typically watch any of my videos or anything, typically I will stream on Twitch and YouTube, Twitch and Kick, and then upload it on YouTube. And then every once in a while on YouTube, I'll do a reaction video, which the most recent one was my reaction video to the Video Game Awards. And then every once in a while, I'll do like a Nintendo Direct or Xbox presentation or something like that. But uh, tonight, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do something like this for a very, very long time, and it's just a matter of trying to get the time to do it, get down the topics that I want to talk about, and then just kind of putting it all together and actually going live. My biggest problem is going to be timing on this because I'd like to pick a specific day to do this, but Sunday today, being Sunday the February the 9th, this seemed like the most logical day to do it, but I would like to pick a different day than Sunday because as opposed to other YouTubers, one, I have a real-time job. My schedule varies from week to week, and I don't have as much time to devote to this. So I'd like to get it to where I can nail everything down and do this on a weekly basis. Maybe get it to a point to where I can do more streams like this, and kind of build upon there. I'll still do my stuff on Twitch and Kick, and then I'll do the occasional live stream on when live stream on when something comes up like a direct or presentation or something like that, when I can do it. My biggest hindrance right now is my schedule. So before we get started with everything, let me go ahead and do a little introduction to myself. I'm Nash Thunderclap. I have been streaming for 4 years now. As I've said before, typically on Twitch and Kick, doing gameplay videos of the stuff I like to play, mostly series stuff, one-offs, every once in a while. Nothing, not really sticking to anything in particular. My viewer count proves that as well. I am what you would consider bottom of the barrel. I'm not very good at what I do. I don't talk very well. As you notice so far in the conversation I'll have tonight, I'll probably stutter, stammer, I'll get stuck on my words, especially tonight, because the topics that I wanted to talk about tonight are as researched as best as I can research them. I'm not very good at researching stuff, but I'm kind of getting there. And that's kind of different to what I'm usually doing at work, because I am somebody that likes to dig and dig and dig and gather as much information as possible. But with news cycles being the way they are, everything comes up so fast. I'd already had planned something to talk about, and then the news cycle kind of changed again, so I had to modify one of the topics, and the other one had just come up, and it was just something to talk about. I had another topic I wanted to talk about, Assassin's Creed Shadows, but it's gotten to the point to where that's boring, and I just didn't feel like talking to it about it. I wanted to do a whole stream about Gunnergate. Well, Gunnergate is boring to me now, and because it's leading on to the topic tonight, one of the topics that I want to talk about tonight, because it's just confusing to me. The whole second topic is going to be confusing to me. So what are we going to be talking about tonight on this first of whatever it is I would call this? I didn't even have a name for this yet. The thumbnail is just something I threw together. I don't know if that's going to be something I'm going to be using forward. I mean, it's just generated AI. I just, said put a bald bearded man in a suit. I forgot to use my new prompt for that. Fat bald guy, fat bald bearded guy in a suit. But that is what it is. Tonight, I wanted to talk about two things. I wanted to talk about PlayStation Network being down and then back up, because as of right now, it's back up from what I understand. And 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. People calling me on the phone. Hopefully you didn't hear that. It all happens at certain times and whatnot. I apologize about that. Where was I? Oh yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And it is so confusing to me about what the issue with the game is. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And also, I do ask one thing, please, because this stream is not going to be very good. Because I'm not fully confident that it will be good. Because I'm just going to talk, I'm just going to talk, I'm just going to talk. And it's probably going to have some bad takes in there. I'm probably going to screw stuff up. My opinion, of course, is my opinion. Don't let that hurt you. This is just what I think of things are going to be. Of course, if you got your opinion, that's great. If you happen to be in the chat, just, hey, go ahead and throw something in the chat. At this point, I don't have enough subscribers to do super chats. I'm not monetized. And I will probably be able to see what's in the chat, and I can probably I will respond to it. But more than likely, what's going to happen tonight is, since this is the first thing of its kind for me on something like this, I'm going to be talking to myself, and this is going to be something that people will watch later on. So I'll go ahead and say it like we usually say on all of that stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff in the algorithm. Supposedly that helps things. That's what I've been told. And let me do a little thing that I do normally on my streams. Let me do my other plugs. Don't forget to follow me on Kick. Subscribe to me on Twitch. Subscribe to me right here on youtube.com/@NashThunderclap. I'm on all the socials. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, also known as X. It's where you get all my updates. Everything's Nash Thunderclap. I do want to, before we get into the topics, I do want to bring up my day. Because it was a pretty interesting day for me out here, because I don't live in a very big area. We don't have a whole lot of stuff that goes on around here. And recently there was going to be a video game convention here in town. And I thought, neat, I will go and spend my Sunday there for probably, about an hour. Look around, and I know there's a couple other conventions going on around right now. And I think there's like a MegaCon going on in Florida. That's a pretty big one. There's a lot of YouTubers down there for that one, having panels and meet and greets and stuff like that. But around here, I decided to, I had nothing else to do with my day. Go down there for probably about an hour because I'm the type of person that likes to kind of get in, get out, not spend a whole lot of time. And then go out about my day because I had other stuff to do today. Of course, one, I get downtown. I go to the wrong conventions, the wrong hotel that it was at. I went to the big convention center we have downtown and walked through there. And there turns out to be a girls volleyball tournament going on there. And that was on me because I misunderstood the directions. And then once I got the directions, I went to the right hotel. $12 just to get in. I wasn't expecting much out of this, and I was not disappointed. So I went down. It was in the bottom floor, the basement floor of the hotel, and went to the vendor room. Vendor room was very small, not very video game heavy, other than 2 vendors on the inside. There was one up in the parking lot, but he had some more. He was actually doing more of a game trailer, like a trailer where you can play games in. And everything else was like fantasy books. There was some art stuff, somebody selling posters. Somebody was showing off his independent game, which was on Steam, and I forgot to get the name of it because it actually looked pretty interesting, and I should have. Well, he told me, but my memory's so bad, I just forgot all about it. And as I was going around, there were a couple of things on the game floor. Now, the prices for the games I didn't see anything under $10, and I'm cheap. I like to buy games cheap, but I did pick up a game I've been wanting to pick up for a while, and it's been hard to find around here. Um, they had 3 copies of it. One booth had 2, and one booth had 1 on PlayStation 3. The original booth had 2 on the 360. 2 different prices. The lower price was because it didn't come with a manual, and I could give a crap about a manual. Dude, I used to work at GameStop. Half the time when we get games traded in, games that used to come with manuals, they'd never come with manuals. Shit, we'd be lucky if they even came with the case. So I ended up picking up a copy of Family Guy Back to the Multiverse because I've been wanting to get that for a while. Not because it's good or anything, because it's awful. It's kind of hard to find. And I want to stream it over on Kick and Twitch. So I got that. But I got that. I figured my day was done. As far as the gaming selections, they weren't that great. I mean, it was just more common than anything else. But this first booth had a damn copy of Futurama 2 on the PlayStation 2, and they're wanting $330 for it. And they had something else too that I had never seen anywhere else before, and they were wanting over $100 for it. I should have took a picture of everything. But I didn't think about it. But as far as I did get something I've always wanted this. I got this, and I've always wanted this. And then, this might not be a big deal to a lot of people, but it was a pretty big deal to me. So, and especially in my area, this is unheard of. So I went upstairs to the parking lot area because I thought the gaming trailer was just that, but they were selling some stuff too. He did have a copy of Guitar Hero 1 on the PlayStation 2 that I've been kind of looking for, but the case was in awful condition, and I'm sure my local retro store around here will have it. Just got to find a guitar for it. But I was just looking around, and this caught my eye. A Super Famicom. We don't have the type of stores around here that would even get something in like this. I do have a few Super Famicom games I've picked up here and there. Mostly when I went to RTX in Houston in 2014, I got a few games in there. A few Japanese N64 games, which the guy cut the back of the cartridge so to fit in an American 64, and they'll play on an American 64 no problem. But this is something I've always wanted. I've always wanted a Japanese system. I don't think I'll ever use it. It's going to be more for like a display piece kind of thing. But especially now, as you know, if you've heard me on my other streams, I'm trying to downsize. This does not help my downsizing. So I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna get this. It wasn't crazy pricey to me. I mean, I did compare some prices online, and it was just all over the place. It cost me $100. So I figured, why not? Because I could easily have bought this online. The problem is getting the motivation and desire to buy this online. So it was like, as they say on a certain YouTube show, I had to have it. So I talked to the guy about it. He said, "Man, I really don't want to sell this." I said, "Well, man, if you don't want to sell it," I mean, he goes, "Nah, man, I'm just kidding." He goes, "I just got it, and I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get it." So it came with Super Street Fighter 2, and it's just going to sit just like that, probably on the shelf back here. It's going to sit just like that. It looks like the power source looks like it could be plugged into our power source, but it's Japan, so I don't think that'll work, and I'm pretty sure an adapter will have to be used on it. But I also have the Super Famicom Mini that they put out a couple of years ago too, so I can always plug that up and kind of enjoy those Japanese versions of some of the classic games, even games on there that weren't on the Super NES Mini. So that was pretty much my day, and for the most part, getting set up for everything on this. So with that out of the way, why don't we just go ahead? Let's go ahead and get into the topics. Let's go ahead and get into the first topic, that I wanted to talk about. Oh, and by the way, also, this is probably going to be a short stream. I'm not looking to do 2 hours or anything like that. I think the topics will probably be short enough. We'll go through a little bit of detail as far as detail that I've collected and just go over my opinions on some of this stuff. So let's go into the first topic right here. The PlayStation servers down for 20 hours, but some say they're back online. So on I believe this was it Friday? I believe it was Friday, if I'm not mistaken, that the PlayStation Network went down. I did kind of notice some things that were off whenever I was playing Astrobot on Thursday. It did not give me access to a lot of my PSN stuff. Like I said, the store was down and all that stuff. So if I'm not mistaken, it was Thursday. But at the time, Sony was not saying anything that was going on. They just said, "Hey, the services are down right now. We're working on it." And it was down. It was staying down past an hour. Then it was past 2 hours, and then further and further and further down it went. And then there was a bit of concern because the last time PlayStation services have been down to this degree, well, not this to this degree, it was the 2011 PlayStation hack, which PlayStation 3 PSN was down for, I believe, 26 days, which resulted in Sony having to make it right with the customers. I believe there was a class action lawsuit, and then the U.S. government got into it because a lot of data information got stolen, and this is back in 2011. So the thought of these kind of services were still kind of new, and Sony at the time they were not charging for their network services. Everything was free. That was the one thing between PlayStation and Microsoft at the time. You paid for Xbox Live, you got PlayStation for free, but you got what you paid for, because it is not very often you hear on the Xbox side of any hacks, DDoS attacks, anything like that. Not saying it doesn't happen, but you just don't hear about it as much as you do on PlayStation. And since 2011, PlayStation services, yeah, they'll have their issues. They'll be down or something's going on. But this is the most severe that it has been in a long time. And of course, Sony was quiet about it up until about yesterday, and then there was this post from PlayStation, and I got this from Grum's Twitter because I went to the PlayStation Twitter X, and I couldn't find it on there, but just go ahead and read that out. At approximately midnight Pacific time, the PlayStation Online store was subject to an online breach. The vector of the attack was quickly identified, and online services were taken offline to assess the severity of the attack. So they took them down as a precautionary method. Just to see what was going on. The individual or individuals concerned did not download or export any user payment details. Unfortunately, they did place a copy of Concord in everyone's library, which engineers are working to correct. I don't know if that's correct or not. I mean, this looks like PlayStation's account. I don't think that can be real. I'm gonna look at the let's look at the comments here. Well, I got bamboozled. See, I pulled this up and it was already debunked whenever I pulled it up. So guess what? We can all have a laugh at me because I pulled this up and I just remembered because last night I was watching Hypnotic stream and now they said that this was, but that would have been funny if they could do that. But let's go to a Forbes article and we'll actually get some better details on that. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit more. All right, we'll blow this up a little bit more. So we'll read the headline here. PlayStation server status webpage says its servers are experiencing about issues about 20 hours after they went offline Friday night. Again, I think I was having issues with when I was playing Astrobot on Thursday, leading to frustration among players who have criticized the company for offering little explanation. Although some players say they're back with shaky service as of 2:30 p.m. Eastern this Saturday afternoon. So that was yesterday. So we got some key facts on here. We can go over there. Some users on the PlayStation Reddit subreddit said that they could connect to servers once again as of Saturday afternoon, while others had their service was still down and unreliable. Typically, that's what usually happens whenever one of these services goes down. They don't bring it back up all at once. They do it in parts, or as I've ever seen it. But I haven't checked today. This was written yesterday, so I don't know if it's been updated since then. Fortnite's X account for status updates says some players have been able to log in and play in a post made at 2:41 p.m. Eastern, but said not all game services may be back online. PlayStation service templates service status updates webpage still indicates all services, including PlayStation Video, Store, and its gaming services, are experiencing issues. PlayStation has not provided an update since it was made on its post at 8:46 p.m. Friday night, acknowledging that it is aware some users might be currently experiencing issues with PlayStation Network, leading to some players to criticize the company for lack of updates. Reports of PlayStation server outages were first spiked on Down Detector about 6:30 Eastern Time Friday night. Forbes have reached out for comment. Let's see if there's any more update on this. Doesn't look like. Let me close this out right here. So as far as the reason of so for the reason for the outage, it's unclear. Sony and PlayStation have not offered an explanation, sparking frustration amongst gamers. I don't understand how there's no follow-up on this part. Say at least something. One of the most updated comments on the PlayStation subreddit outage mega thread, where it says, if I'm not mistaken, when the 2011 attack happened, they didn't say anything at all. I think it was weeks before we found out what happened. It was weeks. Now, of course, what's affected by that is all the online games. I had even seen something to the effect. Let me see if I can find it. I don't think I have it up. But there was a person on X who disconnected his PlayStation 5 disk drive to his PlayStation Slim and then reconnected it while the servers were down, and it could not verify the disk drive. So from my point of view on something like that, as far as the disk drive goes, that should be something that is a one and done. That should be something like once you plug it in the first time, it's authorized. So even if you take it off again and then put it back on, it should already be. They should put it in the memory or whatever. Put it somewhere on the actual physical system itself. This drive is authorized. Now, of course, typically, if you're adding a disk drive to it, you're not taking it off. Now, when I made my trip to Dallas earlier this year and I took my Slim with me, I did not want the disk drive on there because of too much bulk. So I took it off. When I got back, plunk it on there, it had to be online to validate the disk drive. That also affects games too, because if you've ever noticed, your digital games are always going to look for an online connection. Your physical games should not. But if they have an online server, even if you have the disk copy of the game, it will still look for an internet connection, so it will connect. Damn that DRM. If you are going to buy a physical copy of the game One, the entire game needs to be on the disc. If it is multiple, if it's going to be a bigger game than what the disc can contain, more than one disc, install it onto the hard drive, both discs, and then use the first disc as your key. They probably do that. Uh, I know. Mortal Kombat comes to mind. They have a regular disc and a data disc. So you pop in the first disc, your data disc, then back to your first disc, and the first disc is what you use to access the game. But also with that too, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you have to have an internet connection to jump online. So the problem with something like this, and what everybody's having an issue with, and also it looks like this weekend Call of Duty is doing Call of Duty and Monster Hunter Wild had something going on today. So there's a beta version of Monster Hunter Wild that's available, and Black Ops 6 is offering a double XP weekend. So that's going to be a inconvenience for the Sony players. If you're like me and have multiple systems, or you play on PC, not a problem. But I don't know if Monster Hunter Wild is on Xbox or not. Somebody in the chat could tell me if somebody's out there. But this also raises a pretty interesting question as well. This goes back when Helldivers 2 came out. And then after a month of release, Sony decided, hey, you're going to need a PSN to log in, a PSN account to play Helldivers 2. There was a lot of outrage because, one, these people had already committed to the game without having a PlayStation Network account. And then two, PlayStation Network is not available in all countries. Prior to that announcement, there were more people around the world getting access to Helldivers 2, and then doing the PSN access would cut their feet under them and they wouldn't get access to this game. Which to me is pretty ridiculous because that's just Sony saying, yeah, we don't need money from everywhere, just where we prefer to get our money from. And of course, PC players did not want they didn't want to be tied into another account. There's already a lot of accounts you have to be tied into. And Sony, not being the most reliable, PC players were kind of scoffed and said no at that. Now, after a while, Sony backpedaled on that and said it wasn't a requirement. So jump forward to now. Because this did not affect just PlayStation. It affected PC as well if the PlayStation Network account is needed. Flash forward to now and think of how pissed off the PC community would be about this. There would be gripes, there would be complaints, there would be boycott, everything. Because PC players are accustomed to things being a certain way. They are not bound by certain terms and conditions as opposed to console players. You can move around a lot more freely with your gaming experience on PC as opposed to your console, because your console is locked in its ecosystem. No matter the system, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, PC, you've got a little bit more freedom. And this also is a good indication of, again, with your digital copies of your games. Most of those will have to have an internet connection to even verify that you own the game. Oh, no. I take that back. Lease the game. Because to be fair, when you buy a game digitally, you are in fact leasing it for an indeterminate amount of time until the publisher decides they want to cut service from it. Now, there's been a couple of games that are going to be losing their service here. They're going to be shutting down service here soon. One of those being Multiverses from Warner Brothers, and if I'm not mistaken, if it hasn't already shut down their servers, they will be. Justice League, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. But what Warner Brothers did in both those instances, they are making the games, giving them offline offline modes. So that way you can still play the game offline. If you want to play multiplayer, multiverses, you can do it locally. And on PC, Steam, you lease your games. GOG, you own your games. And that's why GOG is becoming more appealing to me, because I want to own my stuff. And I have a lot of stuff on Steam, but I've also been known to double dip with my purchases. So if there's something on GOG that I've got on Steam, I will probably wait till there's a sale and rebuy it on that. But as I said before, this kind of parallels the PlayStation Network outage. 77 million accounts. That's what it affected at the time. I'm pretty sure Sony has more accounts now than they did then. And it affected the PlayStation 3, the PSP. And so it happened around the April 17th to April 19th. And it was still down around their E3 presentation. So a lot of parallels here, a lot of parallels. But, you know, the service is back up. But what had happened was it got hacked. They had to shut it down, and a lot of information got out. I do not believe at the time, whenever I was on there, my stuff, I don't think I had any issues with my stuff, but I took precautions nonetheless. So you should too. I don't want to super go into this because this is a lot of information, but basically, as I said before, Sony had to make good on the outage, which was kind of a blessing in disguise for Sony, because what it ended up doing was it ended up leading into a service that Sony still uses to this day, and it is now known as the PlayStation Plus monthly games. Because what they did was they gave away a lot of games, a lot of free games for download, and that ended up becoming the PlayStation Plus monthly games, which, like I said, they still do to this day. And it got to the point where Microsoft copied that, and it led to Game Pass. But at the very beginning, when Sony did their monthly games, they were meh. Microsoft started theirs off with a bang, and they ended with a meh. But it's a great service to have. I mean, you get all these free games, but you didn't pay for them. And if you ever shut off of your service, it's not really you're out of anything. But yeah. Hey, excuse me. I had to clear my throat there. I see Dole Raven in the chat. Hey, how are you doing, Dole Raven? Welcome to this terrible stream. Oh, and there's my buddy from Twitch and Kick, Stalking. What you doing, buddy? How you doing? Welcome to this abomination of a stream. How's everybody doing? We got people in the chat. And yeah, while y'all here, don't forget to like the stream, I guess, or don't. I don't know. I everything that I do is based on performance. Stalker says, I'm here. I see you're here, buddy. And you're doing good. Good. All right. So yeah, so looks like, you know what? Let's check. Let's check real quick. Let's see. Let's check and see if let's check and see what the status is status on this right now. Before we go on to the next topic. And I'm having to follow all this around. Let's see. Because I have yet to turn on my PlayStation. So as of right now, all services are up and running. That's account management, gaming into social, PlayStation Video, Store, and Direct. Will we know what happened? Well, if it hasn't been announced already at the time of me doing this, I don't know. I really don't know. But if I had to guess, they probably got hacked, and they had to take everything down as a precautionary method. Don't be surprised if they offer a "we're sorry" gift. I don't know if it could be like a game. It could be like, hey, we'll give you like a $5 credit on your PlayStation account or something. Who knows? I mean, but we'll find out. We will find out eventually. And let's go ahead and go on to the next topic. And our second topic tonight is Kingdom Come Deliverance. This game came out last week, and it has been getting a lot of talk about the content of the game. The game director has also said stuff on X. My opinion, the game director is a nut job. My opinion. And there's all this stuff about a gay sex scene, and then turns out that the character is one of the characters in that scene is underage based off material in the game. And what the big issue is, you've got the people on the commentary side for gaming, what they're calling the anti-woke commenters, are pretty much infighting about the game. I'm gonna be honest with you. The way I'm looking at it, it's more of like, it's not whether it's woke or not woke. It's more or less the logic of the game. What about the logic? Does it make sense to have this in a game that takes place in a period of this time? So I want to kind of cover some things real quick, and I'll start over here on X on Synth Potato. Now, keep in mind, we'll look at this post, and then we'll kind of look at something else too. So, and just get my opinion on this stuff, because this whole thing is just confusing to me. Confusing to me, because you look at something, it just the cycle on the news on this is, it just moves so fast. You look at it one day and you're almost forming an opinion, and then there's another point of view coming out, or something else that's come out about it, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just all over the place. So this is some Synth Potato over on X. Because there's so much misinformation pushed by grifters, you gotta love a post that starts off that way. Misinformation pushed by grifters, and I absolutely hate that thing, grifters. Because these are the type of people that talk about people that are online and they're making money off of their content. And the whole grifters thing didn't start being really overused until last year. Everybody that does content on the internet and they're monetized, they're doing it for money. Even the person that posted this is doing this for money. But anyway, sorry, cleared my throat there. But here's actually what's true about Kingdom Come Deliverance. All right. We'll just go through this line by line. Yes, you can choose to enter a gay relationship, same as Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, Fallout New Vegas, etc. Oh, don't forget Mass Effect. So, yes, that's always been a thing in some RPG games. I don't think that's what they're complaining. Some of these people are complaining about in the game. What they're complaining about is the the fact that the character did not show those tendencies in the first game. And a lot of what's making them mad is things that were were canon in the first game are being changed in the second game. And even and I'll go into that in a second as far as when it comes to the canon of the game. These options were clearly marked with a heart, and you are never forced or pushed upon them. I will agree with that, because in all of those other games, the romance options things has always been an optional thing. You don't have to do them. I know in Mass Effect, I made it my duty to try and get with all the ladies in Mass Effect. But one thing that you'll notice after you do those romance options, that's it. Nothing happens after that. You go in, you play nicey nice, you do a little mission or two for them to win their favor, and then you get down to it. And then after that, it's not really discussed too much other than a dialogue thing here and there, and then you just move on with the game. See, Stalking says, I like the ones that promise giveaways and money all the time just to get money from the interactions. Yeah, I stay away from those because there's nothing good that comes of that. Nothing good that comes of that. But I try to stay away from those. All right. So right here, there are plenty of women to romance, sleep with, or outright pay for. Yeah, so going into this one thing, it is one option in the game. Again, I don't really care. If it were up to me, all the romance stuff would be out of these games. Treat it like some of these animes. Because some of these animes, they tease the romantic stuff, but they never in a lot of times they don't outright go into it. But they hint around and tippy toe around it. That's what they mostly do. The character, okay, so here we go. Hans. Hans is the character that you go gay with in the game. Hans still chases after women and is written identically to the first game. So this is a character that was in the first game. Henry and Hans are portrayed as brothers in arms, and that is never deviated from if you don't choose the romance dialogue options. Hans and Henry are both obviously portrayed as adults. I'll get into that in a second. Henry and Hans are only bisexual if you decide to let them be. So from that comment, that's essentially like, this will be like if you want to ship them, we're giving you the option to ship them. Okay. Let's see. The comment from YouTube was made by a Warhorse community manager and was never actually stated by the story writers, who are the same people as KCD1. I don't know much about that. I tried to look into that a little bit more yesterday, and I just couldn't get that. And then, frankly, if you still have an issue with this, you should probably never play an RPG again, as almost all RPGs from the past decade and a half have this exact option. It is wild to see how much of the grifters have twisted a player choice into such a big drama just to make a few bucks off your views. It's not... that stuff's kind of hard to say. I mean, prior to last month with the whole Goomergate thing, all of these people were pretty much on the same side. It was just, we don't want DEI in the games. We don't want them to be woke. We don't want to be forced content into the game that has nothing to do with the game or anything to do that has not been done, that was not something that was not been done in the prior games. We don't want the characters we love to be belittled or demeaned or demeaned. We'll just say it with that because I'm trying to say another word that my mouth won't let me say. Um, we want quality people to work on these games, people that have merit in the game, have experience, not people that have no talent to make these games and are only putting in the stuff that they want to put in for them and their circle. Basically stuff that does not go with the general audience. Now, is there room for games like that? Absolutely. I mean, there's already games around like that now. But does it belong in an established IP? No, I don't think so. As far as buying a game and being browbeat, much like in Dragon Age Vanguard, where you're constantly reminded that one of the characters is non-binary, and you've got to pay penance if you misgender. Other than on top of the game having not so great puzzle solving and having issues about gameplay, to the point to where they pretty much fired everybody that worked on that team, and then anybody else that was left over has been shifted over to Mass Effect. Because at the end of the day with these games, the studio heads, the publishers, don't give a crap about these people that are working on these games, because people that are working on these games assuming that they're going to stick up for them no matter what. Oh, yeah, that game, well, it was because of the chuds the game didn't do all that well. You know what? The studio has our back, and then, they'll have our back even more when we work on the next project. Nope, you're fired because you're not making us money and you cost us a ton of cash, which we got to explain to the stockholders because that's their money. But they fired me, and I'm like, no. No, 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 no. But the problem is they get fired, and because of their little circles that they're in, they're already put on to the next big project. And I know the director of the game's been already moved on to Halo, I believe. Which Halo is where it's at right now because of Microsoft and all of their junk. But enough of that. Back onto this topic. So okay, so you got the gay thing came out. You got a couple of people online that are saying that it's woke because it's got this. You've got this gay optional thing in the game where you could do it or you didn't have to do it. And I'm pretty sure it's set up with all little missions like that. Probably after that, it goes right back to the gameplay and not much has changed. And you could probably still do the normal womanizing. Well, I wouldn't say womanizing, but the stuff with the normal women like you normally can. I do know in the first game, you got an achievement for being a virgin. So you could probably do that in this game too. But it is but it just more stuff keeps piling up, and then in the same community on there you get in divisions on there, so they're splitting apart, and then you've got one side saying it's terrible, it doesn't need to be in the game, and then you've got the other side that is it's not a big deal, this kind of thing's been in RPGs in the past, and the story is good. That's what ultimately matters, that it was good. And one thing that's really noticeable on one side, the one side that's complaining about it is being highly religious, the Goonergate stuff, and then you've got the other side is like, this is no big deal. And this side is saying it's gay is not woke. This side, gay and black, is woke. Gay and black is not woke. Just for that fact, just for those two options, that is not woke. It's forcing it into our entertainment. That's what's woke. Hiring people to make this stuff that do not have the qualifications, and they are being hired just to fill a checkbox. That is woke. So that's the main point of it. But then you get up and then you wake up to a new day and then you see something like this. And this is from Endymion over on Twitch, who I saw this the other day, and he says Hans, who is the character that you optionally can have a relationship with. Hans Capian is canonically 15 years old, apparently in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, according to the in-game historical records. Yet you can romance him in the game if you make Henry gay, effectively meaning, yes, technically illegal to showcase this in the game. So what are they talking about here? So this is the codex that is in Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, the purpose of this, from my understanding and what I've looked at, is this is pretty much just a history of who the characters actually is actually based upon. So according to the dates here, 1388 to 1419 is when they die. And it was made to my attention, that little symbol right there, I don't know if you see it where my arrow is. It's supposed to be a question mark. It's hard for me to make up. Like, they're not sure when the date of birth would be. But it's the director of the game said this, and I've heard a couple of YouTubers go back to this. The codec is used as just a reference for the characters. It's not the actual characters, much like a journal. But on the other side of that, if you are a normal person, a normie, you're going to look at this and you're going to think it's like a journal in one of the normal games. Because your normal people are not going to sit here and they're not going to know X, Y, and Z about, and they're not on Twitter as much as some of us crazy people are. Some of them don't look at interviews. They don't go to the director's Twitter to get more information. And you could look at that as this is supposed to align with the game. Typically, descriptions like this are supposed to follow in line with the game that's being played. But the director has gone off and he has said something to the fact of, if I can find it here, let's see. Yeah, this has nothing to do with what I was talking about. So we'll go back to this. So apparently this is just supposed to be something that goes along with the game, just describing the actual historical versions of these characters and who they're based on. What I would have done, I would have done because it's under characters. You would assume by looking at this is describing the exact characters that are in this game. But they say it's not. If that's the case, I would have done another tab, 1 characters in game, and 1 characters based on historical knowledge. So that way you've got 2 forms of references right there, because some people might actually want to learn about the actual character. Or you could have done this and just not use actual historical characters and used all made-up characters. You could have done that. But no. And Daniel Vara is the director of the game. And when the first game came out, he essentially got a lot of flack. Got a lot of flack for the first game because they were asking, hey, why aren't there any black people in this game or any minorities? And he said, well, the game takes place in this particular area in Europe during this particular time frame. There were no minorities here during that time. That's why. it also came up too why there's no children in the game, and it come out that they said, well, honestly, it's because of laziness, because we have to go in and model kids, teenagers, and then we have to go in and animate them, and we don't have time for that. Which both characters in the game look like adults, but the reactions from the director is yeah, he's been pretty spicy about everything. That's another thing, was him being pretty spicy about everything, mostly because he has uh he has pretty much just been very vocal on the comments that he's gotten. Like at one point he had let me see if I can find let's see if I can find the Metacritic review post that he did. And of course, he got a 9 on IGN, which is surprising because 7, that's the thing on IGN. You know you're doing good when you get a 7. That's what all the bad games get. They all get a 7. Let's see. This had to be before the 6. That's what I hate about going on Twitter. You have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll down. And I'm telling you, this is my first time ever doing this, so bear with me. See, when we got comments like this, they bribed all the journalists with BlackRock money. Wait until the player reviews come in. So he's getting salty over some negative reviews, and it was 90% on Metacritic, and then he got a 50% score over on Games Radar, and that dropped the score, and he got angry about that. Dude, reviews don't matter. If people are playing your game, that's all that matters. People are buying your game, that's all that matters. But he's been pretty much on the warpath off all of that. But we talked about that. We talked about in Demion's post, and then here on Fandom Pulse, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 creative director Daniel Vivara addresses child sodomy scene, and that's where they're going into the codec for the age of the character. And one of the things that he did say, now I don't think this came off very well, but this was on Twitter on his account, and he was asked, if you decide you want a love scene with Hans, you're committing pedophilia. Yeah, that thing, because Hans is 15 years old. You cannot make this stuff up. Daniel Bavara says, imagine that women at the time were married at the age of 12 and had children. They also needed witness during first sex. So I kind of get what he is saying here. And he was saying, I'm pretty sure he was saying during that time, underage marriages was a thing. But I'm also, if I'm not mistaken, people didn't live very long during this time too. I'm pretty sure they died off before they even hit 40. Probably died off before they even hit 30. So they had to do everything quickly, not defending it or anything. That's just what it was going on during the times. But I'm sitting here hearing about all of this, and it is just confusing me. And I know I'm not explaining this very well. As I said, this is just something that it's just a confusing topic to me, and I just don't understand what is going on. Again, like I said, do I want DEI woke stuff in the games? Absolutely not. Do I want people interfering and changing the original author's material to translate it to English? Absolutely not. Do I want people who absolutely have no business making these games because they don't have enough experience and they were only hired to check off a box? Do I want that? Absolutely not. But on the other side, are there certain other things that you can't classify in that? Is just gay woke? No. When it comes to games, no. Can it be interpreted that way? Yes. If being a minority, is that woke? No, but it can be interpreted that way in a game. Because guess what? That stuff's been around for years. The idea of it being pushed in entertainment as an agenda. We don't need this. We turn to this stuff for escapism. We want to get away because guess what? We hear that shit all day long, every day in some form or fashion, especially right now because of the new administration and the stuff they're digging around for. Because guess what? A change is coming and people are bitching about it. Why are they bitching about it? Because it's messing up with their money. Because that's all it boils down to. It boils down to money. They don't care about this stuff. All it does is just a means to an end to line in their pockets. And that's the same thing too with these people that work on these projects. They get paid. Who cares if it fails? They get paid. They don't they may want to spread their message in there and feel like they're doing good. But they're not doing they're not really doing good. They're just pissing everybody off. They're doing good for like a small percentage of the population. You've got to appeal to everybody. You get as much because if you do well in this game, hey, you'll get hired for another big profile game and so on and so forth. And then if you get enough of a profile, then make your little weirdo game on your own. Make a little independent weirdo game. There's nothing wrong to say there's not a place for it. Because good God, if you go on Steam, you'll see that stuff. You'll see a cornucopia of different types of games. There's nobody makes a big deal about it is because of it being a high profile game like Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's a high profile game. There's some stuff in there and some confusion about the game. That's why they are making a big deal about it. If this game was like a single A game or anything below that, probably wouldn't make a big deal about it at all. But it's only because it's a sequel. It's got a higher budget and it's being sent out by a bigger publisher. That's why. Now, will I play it? No, absolutely not. I am not going to play this game, and it's not for any of those reasons. I've tried playing the first game. I got so bored with it off of the very first level because the controls are I don't like the controls. The combat mechanic is just difficult to use, and it's just not fun for me to play. But I understand what they were going for. They were going for a realism thing with that. The mechanics on this one carried over. There were some improvements, but I'm just not interested. Plus, with all this stuff going around talking about it has just turned me away from it. Now, does that mean I won't pick it up? Maybe down the road when it's on maybe a deep discount? Yeah, maybe. Will I get the urge to maybe try Kingdom Come again? Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 again? I mean, I was like that with Fallout. I was like that with Skyrim. I'll play it, not like it, jump back in, and then something will hook me into where I'll want to play more of it. But for now, I don't know. I have no interest in either game. No interest at all. But as I've always said before, it's your money. Spend it however you want. But if you are unsure into making the investment, watch your favorite YouTuber, watch your favorite Twitch streamer. Get reviews from people you absolutely trust. Watch playthroughs because they usually start the game the day the game comes out. Watch playthroughs, get enough information, and make your own decision. You don't have to buy these games day one unless it's something that you absolutely can trust. You can trust something that you can absolutely trust. But at the end of the day, make a wise decision. I'm not going to tell you not to buy it. I'm just going to tell you my opinion on it. And right now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is just not anything that's interesting to me. I'm already getting frustrated on Black Myth Wukong, and that game came out 4 months ago. Nope, 6 months ago. and that's already getting my dander up. So, so yeah, that is what it is. All right, so yeah, I said this wasn't going to be a very long stream. I do appreciate everybody hopping in on the chat. Dull Raven, Stalking, always love you, brother. Love you, brother, Stalking. And you know, I feel this was a pretty okay first attempt. Again, I want to do more, so I get more comfortable doing this. Maybe a little bit more organization is needed on my end, because I kind of feel, even starting on this, I was going to be all over the place, and I kind of felt I was all over the place here. And I don't know if I made any good points. I probably didn't, but it's something that I would like to do, and hopefully, if everybody does hop in and they are a little bit patient with me, I hope to at least try to entertain you the best way I can. And that's bottom of the barrel entertainment right there. So you're not going to be getting too much out of me too much out of me anyhow. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is I'm going to do what I normally do on my other streams. We're going to do my plugs. Hey, don't forget to follow me on Kick, subscribe to me on Twitch, subscribe to me right here on youtube.com/@NashThunderclap. I'm on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, also known as X. It's where you get all my updates. Everything's Nash Thunderclap. And while you're here on here, hey, don't forget to throw a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I would really appreciate that. And I appreciate the people that hopped in and gave me just a little bit of your time. And I hope to be able to do more for you. So we're going to go ahead and shut down. I am jumping immediately over to Twitch and Kick, and we are going to be playing Mario Party Jamboree with randos. So if you want to watch me play some Mario Party Jamboree and not be very good at it, just hop over to Twitch and Kick. It's all both Nash Thunderclap. I will be on there just pretty much almost immediately as I'm done here. So I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a good night, and we will see you next time.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.